I think it is an absolutely incredible film. If you like cinema and are into movies, I think you'll like it. It's not an easy to watch film, okay? But it's incredible. And I think it's going to define the war genre going forward. And kind of like how Saving Private Ryan changed the war genre, and there were a lot of copycat films that mimicked that style afterwards. I think we're going to see a lot of copycat films that mimic this style of war film. Because it's really incredible that in 2024, someone managed to make a unique war film. And I think this is a very unique war film. And if you see it, I think you should definitely see it at an IMAX, even if it's not the best IMAX, because even the worst IMAX has a taller than normal screen. And this movie is shot in a taller than normal aspect ratio. And the aspect ratio it's shot in, which is 1.85 to 1, is very similar to the native 1.9 to 1 ratio you'd find at a garden variety ho-hum AMC IMAX. The taller than normal aspect ratio, I think, mimics a photograph. But in terms of the political controversies, this is not a woke movie, unless you think any movie that has a strong female protagonist is woke, in which case Terminator 2 is woke and Aliens would be woke. And I think that's ridiculous to say that. So I don't think it is at all a woke movie. It's also not a far-right movie, unless you think that any film that doesn't have an explicit social justice angle or social activist angle is a far-right movie. It's a neutral movie. It's not a centrist movie. It's a neutral movie. And the director is stubbornly pursuing neutrality. And I imagine that had to require a tremendous amount of self-control on Alex Garland's part. And I think that mimics the sort of journalistic self-control that the characters in the movie are displaying, or that they have to contend with. They want to take a side, they want to have feelings, but their job doesn't allow them to have that. And you know, I think it's kind of interesting that the director, as he's filming this, I think is kind of going through the same kind of conundrum as the protagonists are. And overall, it's a really cool effect. So while normally I recommend people see films at a good, normal theater over a bad IMAX theater, in this case, I'd even take the bad IMAX theater over a good, normal theater. Of course, ideally, you would have a good IMAX theater. In many ways, I think this movie is a better use case for an AMC Mall IMAX than a film actually shot in IMAX. Like, I'd rather watch a Christopher Nolan film, which is shot in IMAX, I'd rather watch that on a good widescreen prestige cinema than at a bad IMAX theater. And by a bad IMAX theater, I mean, you know, one of the AMC ones with the Xenon 2K projectors. If you don't understand what that means, that's fine. But basically what I'm getting at is that this is a scenario where you'll really want to see it in some sort of IMAX, even if it's not the greatest IMAX. Especially because the sound is damn loud. And it's loud in a great way. There's no normal soundtrack. It is mainly gunshots and dialogue. And the gunshots are very hard hitting. And if there's one thing that even bad IMAX theaters are good at, it's getting loud. And these gunshots are loud. Those of you who are into the gunshots in Collateral and Heat and the Michael Mann films, I know a lot of people online always talk about how realistic those are. You're going to love this film because it's that kind of style of gunshot and sound design. You know, I also think it makes kind of Netflix look ridiculous because it was shot on a camera, the DJI Ronin 4D, that is not Netflix approved, meaning this movie couldn't have been a Netflix original. When you see it, you'll realize how ridiculous that is because it looks awesome. You know, I have content on this channel from when I did a trip to North Korea. I've been to some dangerous countries. And one of the things I think this movie captures is that when you're going to a dangerous place or a place where bad things are happening, you have this adrenaline rush and it's really exciting. But then you realize, well, wait a minute, I shouldn't be feeling so good or excited about seeing bad things. So, great movie. I think it's worth seeing. I don't think it's political in a partisan way if you were worried about that. And if you think this movie is partisan, that probably says more about you than the movie. The one thing that the movie is stubbornly in defense of is journalistic neutrality, which is increasingly unpopular, I think, with everyone of every political division, unfortunately. So, you know, it's great to see a movie sticking up for that. But at the same time, it'll be interesting to see how people react to it. But yeah, this is definitely one for a theater, especially an IMAX theater, if you can get to one. And it's really incredible that even in 2024, you can still have a war movie that surprises you.